What's up guys, Colton from Team Synergy here, and today for our 0 subscriber special, I'm going to be profiling my Toon deck for the June 12th, 2017 ban list. I haven't actually seen an up-to-date Toon deck profile on YouTube in a while that I really like, so I went out and made my own. This is a Preda Toon variant, and it is really good. I've heard a lot of people say that Toons aren't viable anymore, you can't run them, they're kind of like a joke, but people still really love the archetype. And so I made a competitive one, and in my opinion, it is the best one on YouTube, or will be the best one on YouTube. And let's go ahead and get into the deck. Alright, so for the monsters, you run 2 Toon Gemini Elf. She's pretty good. She's a 1900 beater that can attack your opponent directly, like all Toon monsters can. And if you do, your opponent has to discard 1 card from their hand. So she's pretty good. And next, I run 2 Toon Mermaid. You don't really use her for much else than making rank 4 plays, since you can special summon her for your hand. So if you draw into like a sorcerer in him or her, or like a Gemini Elf in her, you can normal and then special her and immediately go into like a rank 4. And that's really all you use her for, since you do have to pay 500 to attack with her directly. I don't really feel the trade-off's really that much worth it. Next, I play Toon Mass Sorcerer. You don't really, again, I don't really use him for attacking or anything like that. He does have a pretty good effect where if you attack your opponent directly, you do draw 1 card, and that can be kind of useful, but mostly you're going to end up using him for rank 4 plays. Next, I play 2 Toon Red Eyes. He's arguably the best Toon in the deck. When he's on your field once per turn, you can special summon another Toon monster from your hand whose name isn't Toon Red Eyes. And for his effect, your main target is going to be your 2 Toon Dark Magician. When he's on the field, you can activate his effect and then special summon 1 Toon monster from your deck. And his target is going to be your 1 Toon Ancient Gear Golem. I run Golem over Blue Eyes because Blue Eyes you got to pay to attack. He doesn't really have any downsides. He can attack directly, and your opponent can't activate spells or traps until the end of the damage step. And he also does piercing damage if you're not attacking directly. Next, I run 3 Leaf Lizards. He's really good. This is your Preda Plant engine right here. This is it. It's just 3 cards. He's really strong though. His effect is you can use him pretty much as a poly. So you'd summon him and then target 1 dark monster on your field or in your hand, and you can immediately fusion into your Preda Plant Chimera Rafflesia. So it's a really easy fusion, and Rafflesia is actually a pretty strong monster, so I feel like he's a must-have at 3. Next, you run your 3 Black Eggs. Really good card. This is how you're going to bring out your Toon Red Eyes. It makes it really easy, and we have multiple ways to get to this card. Next, you run 1 Win Condition. This card is so good. I don't know why people don't play Grand Mole anymore. I think he's an amazing card. I run him literally in every deck. Not only does Grand Mole just bounce things back from the field, like for example, like a Trish. If your opponent summons a Trish, you can just Grand Mole that hoe, and he's gone. Grand Mole also, I feel like when your opponent knows you have Grand Mole in your hand, it makes them scared to do things because they're thinking about it and like, all right, I can summon this, but it's just gonna get Grand Moled, and Grand Mole really does. He just does a lot for the deck, and I feel like he's a must-have at 1. To be honest, I'd run like 37 of him if he wasn't limited to 1, but since we can only run 1, that's what we're gonna do. So let's get into the spells now. We do run a whole lot of spells in this deck. Pretty much the rest of the deck is spells, except for traps. We do run like 6 traps. So first up, I run 1 Toon World. That's all you need. We do run triple Toon Kingdom. I only run 1 world because I want to have 4 field spells, because most people don't have 4 outs. You know, most people aren't running like triple Twin Twister and like a Galaxy Cyclone. Most people just have like 2 Twin Twister or whatever. So I want to have more ways to get my field spell than my opponent has outs to them. 1 copy of Mimic Cat. This card's pretty good, but any time before like the end of the game, it's kind of a brick. If you don't know what he does, if you control a Toon monster and a Toon Kingdom or Toon World, you can target 1 thing in your opponent's graveyard, any card, and special summon it to your side of the field. That includes spells, traps, monsters, literally anything. It's super strong, but it can also brick you really hard, so I recommend only running 1. Next, I run 1 Dark Hole. If you got a Raigeki, I'd run Raigeki, but Dark Hole's not bad either, because the effect of your Toon Kingdom is whenever one of your Toon monsters would be destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can instead mill and banish 1 card from the top of your deck. And so this pretty much is a Raigeki. You just pop it and then just mill however many cards you need to. But if you have a Raigeki, I'd still run Raigeki. Next, I run 2 Allure of Darkness. This is pretty much our only draw power in the deck. You could run like Duality if you want to, but Allure is really good because we have tons of dark monsters in the deck. Next, you run triple Toon Table of Contents. This is your searcher for your field spell Toon Kingdom. You could also use it if you make like your Red Eyes, but you don't have the Dark Magician in hand. You could also search for him. But mainly you're going to be using this to search for your field spell. Next, I run the 1 Terraforming. This is pretty much just for searching Toon World. And then 3 Comic Hand. This card, in my opinion, is like the best card in the deck. It's ridiculous. If you don't know what it is, it's Snatch Steal for Toons. You can just take control of one of your opponent's monsters, and the monster also becomes a Toon as well, which means you can attack your opponent directly with their own monster. Really, really ridiculous. If its name was Toon Hand, I think it would be limited. That would be really broken if you just had a searchable Snatch Steal. Really, really good card. Next, you run 1 Upstart, just another card to help you get through your deck. And then your 1 for 1. This helps you get your Red Eyes Egg if you don't have one in your hand. You only run 1. And that's going to do it for the spells. Next, we'll get into the traps. So, double Quaking. I think Quaking, in my opinion, is the best Mirror Force out right now. Lots of decks boss monsters can't be destroyed by battle or card effects. And so Quaking kind of gets around that because it just turns them face down on the field. And they can't really do anything about it. Really, really good card. Next, I run 1 Torrential Tribute. This card's really good too. It's pretty much like a Dark Hole or Raigeki. Like I said, for Toon Kingdom, you would flip this and then just mill however many cards you need to save your Toon monsters. Really, really good. Then I run 2 Fiendish Chain. I love this card. I don't know why people stopped running it. It's not as good as it once was, but being able to just flip it and completely shut down one of your opponent's monsters, I think, is still a really strong effect. And so I run 2 of them. And the next, the 1 Warning. I don't actually own any strikes. If you want to, you could take out the 2 Fiendish Chains and run the Solemn Brigade for the 1 Solemn Warning and the 2 Solemn Strikes. But I think this is fine. I like Fiendish Chain. If I had strikes, I may or may not use them. I feel like if you run 2 strikes, at that point you're kind of negging yourself a lot of life points between the 2,000 from this, the 3,000 from the 2 strikes, and then the 1,000 from the Toon World. You're kind of hurting yourself, and you're taking a lot of life points away. So that's it for the main deck. Let's go ahead and get into the extra deck now. Okay, so for rank 7s, you play 1 Draco Sack. You only run him to summon the tokens and just pop cards on the field. Then you run 1 Big Eye. If there's a problem monster your opponent has and you can't get over it, you can just go into Big Eye and take it. Really, really good card. And then you run 1 Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon. He's really good. I explained the combo earlier where you'd get Red Eyes out and then special summon Dark Magician and then Gear Golem. If you attack your opponent directly with all of them, that's 7,900 damage. If you do that, then you can then go into your main phase 2 and overlay for him. And then if your opponent activates any kind of card effects, they get burned for 500 and lose the duel. And that's really the only time I'd ever go into him. Other than that, you're going to want to always go into Big Eye or Draco Sack to deal with cards. For the rest of the extra deck, it's pretty much a big rank 4 engine that you just kind of go into whenever you want. Depends on what you need and what your opponent has. So you play 1 Dark Rebellion for attacking over cards, 1 Tornado Dragon because we don't run any kind of back row destruction like Twin Twisters or Galaxy Cyclone, and so I feel like Tornado Dragon is really good to have if your opponent does have a back row card that you really need to deal with. Then I run 1 Evil Ant-Man. I know he's on the ban list right now and you can't actually run him, but there's been lots of rumors circulating that with the next ban list he's going to get limited back to 1. And if that's the case, then I feel like he's a must-of at 1. He's such a good card. Then you run 1 Diamond Direwolf, just for blowing stuff up. Castell for sending stuff back to the deck. Honor Arc for taking stuff, pretty much like you would Big Eye. Cowboy for burning for 800 if your opponent has less than 800 left. And then I run Utopia and Lightning. I don't run Prime. I feel like all you need is Utopia and Utopia Lightning. He's pretty much a 5k beater that you can't stop from swinging. You can pretty much get over any monster your opponent's going to throw at you. Then for the Prey to Plants, you run 2 Chimera Rafflesia. This card is really, really good and really, really easy to bring out. For those of you who don't know, his effect is once per turn, you can banish 1 face-up monster your opponent controls whose level is equal then or lower to his, and he's a level 7, so that's a lot of monsters that you can just banish for free. Also, during the battle phase, he gains 1,000 attack. So he's pretty much a 3,500 beater that can banish one of your opponent's monsters every turn. It's really easy to bring out. I feel like he's a must-have at 2. So this extra deck's only 13 cards, so you do have some room to play around. You could run like Utopia Prime if you want. You could run something like Evil Swarm Ophion or something. Just more rank 4s or whatever you really want. Even more rank 7s. I don't really know any other rank 7s you'd want to run. Because you don't really go into your extra deck that often, truth be told. That's why I don't run any Link monsters. Really, your Toons do all the work because they can attack directly, and if you have Kingdom on the field, they're really hard to get off the field. You'd really only go in your extra deck depending on if there's something your opponent has that you need to deal with, or if you want to burn them with like Cowboy or Red Eyes to close the duel. So that's going to do it for the extra deck. Alright, so thank you guys so much for watching my Toon deck profile. If you have any suggestions on how I can make this deck even better, besides taking Grand Mal out of the deck, I'd love to hear about it in the comment section below. So this is the first video in our channel of many more to come. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And for our 0 subscriber special here, let's see if we can go ahead and smash out 1 million likes. I know you guys can do it. I believe in you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.